Right. Well, yeah. Take that. Oh, oh boy. We're gonna do a heavy one today. Brace up, kids. You know what time it is. That's right. Live from the Crescent Moon Temple, it's the morning show with your host, Tolinar. Ready to sing with me? It's time to play the music, switch all of the cameras on. It's time for the morning show and I'm going it alone. Let's quickly check the chat room. There is nobody home. It's time for the morning show and I guess I'm on my own. Cue stage lights. The host, the guest, the audience, it's what I'm here to be. There's no one even watching. The cat got out of there. And that's nothing unusual. It's just another day. I'm sure I can get through it all if I do it my own way. Double check Twitch integration. All systems good to go. One last quick mic inspection. Fine for audio. Pick a topic of conversation. Something I ought to know. Modern news is too confusing. We're gonna talk about something heavy today. Why don't we discuss self-delusion and self-perception? The host, the guest, the audience, it's what I've got to be. There's no one even out there. This all depends on me. But that's nothing unusual. It's just another day. I'm sure I can make my life great if I do it my own way. The host, the guest, the audience, it's what I've got to be. There's no one even out there. This all depends on me. And that's nothing unusual. It's just another day. If I want to make my life great, I've got to do it my own way, okay. Today on the morning show, I guess we are discussing the concept of self-delusion versus self-perception. Big one. Oh boy, play me to the desk. Today's morning show is brought to you by the letter W, the number 1, and by viewers like me, because, brother, I'm in. Oh boy. Okay. Today is February 13th. I need to check my playlists, figure out how many videos I've got uploaded here for the morning show. Don't actually play that back. Where are all of my episodes? Oh, it's all out of order. Good gravy. But it still has been a while since I've uploaded. We're going to have a big old backlog that I've got to get uploaded today. Probably about 3 episodes going on. No problem. I will take some time and get this rearranged later. For now, let's just record the episode. Yes, Kitty. All right, this time we're gonna go this. All right, you want the window instead. You don't want to hear me talk. Fine, I see how it is. Go ahead, get that bug that's on the glass. Okay, cube got knocked down. We don't want that. Get back up there. Let's start some tea. We're going to talk today about self-deceptions and delusions versus self-perception. Very important. Yesterday I got in a big talk online about a major problem where people experience willful ignorance. That's not quite the topic today. Willful ignorance is deceiving other people by spreading things that you know are falsehoods, but you insist on repeating anyways. Choosing to repeat falsehoods, that's self-deception. I got ants all over my kitchen, doggone it. I have to clean up. You two, off with you. If you don't take a flight, you're going to end up smashed. All right. No. Let me see what I can find here. I guess I do the big one. It's fine. I need a lot of tea today, so this will be more than acceptable. Let's listen to Kentaro Sato and the Budapest Symphony Orchestra performing Stardew Valley. It's the soundtrack to my life. And bring that up a notch or two while we're at it. There we go. Whilst I get my daily tea prepped up, we could talk a little bit about the concepts of self-deception and self-delusion. Working from imperfect information is pretty much a requirement in most people's lives on some level, unfortunately. There will always be a break point where we are forced to make guesses, be imprecise, and hope for the best. The less frequently this happens, the better it is for us, but it's got to happen on some level. That's because nobody is perfect. And because nobody is perfect, nobody has perfect information. We're all forced to occasionally guess. Occasionally we must guess. Occasionally we must guess. When we guess, and we are aware of it, it's good for our psychology. But if we guess and think we have an absolute, it can lead to a domino effect, or we can come to believe some pretty ridiculous things. There we go. I'll just add some corn flour to my tea this morning since I'm brewing up quite a lot of it. Okay, good. So, a delusion is when a person comes to believe something that is absolutely untrue. Now, perhaps they know that it is untrue on some level. Perhaps not. Self-deception is when you know something is incorrect, but you insist on trying to make it correct for the sake of your own sanity. Let's have a good example of this. I am an overlord. And that is a heavy idea. What does that even mean? Well, overlord is a self-defined term, but the rest of the world considers overlords to be evil beings that are capable of la da 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 da. Anyways, the leader of the opposing army type stuff. I suppose that's fine. Plunge this down a little bit, pull up, and we're ready. Now my tea is steeping. Oh, but it's absorbing so much moisture that I actually need to set it here. Make sure the whole thing is under. Okay, tea steeping. For me to say I am an overlord, that's self-deception. I know that I don't have any actual qualifications controlling evil minions. However, the self-deception has a purpose. One, it lets me frame what I'm doing as new and unique, instead of incredibly boring, which is more accurate. Like, you are not an overlord, more accurately, you are a poor person. That's not a perspective I want to think about, even though it's correct. I don't want to obsess about the reality of where the bottom end of my position is. I want to think about what I'm capable of, what I'm able to do. By framing myself as a limitless individual, a little bit of self-deception, I can have more guts and willingness to do new things, to be brave with my ideas, to be aggressive with my approach to life. And to put the lid on the sugar dish, the answer everywhere this morning. Most often, it's our ego, our delicate sense of self-worth, that directs us to perform self-delusion. Not always, though. And self-deception. It enters delusion when you start to think that your imagined situations are real. There's a fine line between delusion and reality, though. Sometimes that fine line is a fine black line. And no matter what you do, it's never going away. Other times, that fine line is a very thin color, and it can just feather away. A person who believes they are a pop star and acts like a pop star and behaves like a pop star might not be popular, might not be well known, until one day they get their break. Their life rolls forward, and they become the very star they were seeking to be. Every single person who is a big YouTube celebrity, a high-name performing artist, everyone who is a renowned jazz master, these are people who all started off thinking, I'm going to be this person. And at first, it was self-deception. It may have even morphed into delusion. You got a bug. A bug. It's okay. Cat's out of here as I sent the bug careening. Like, oh no, violence. What'd you do? I don't want that bug on the screen. It could get inside. It's fine. I was just doing a dumb human thing. There's no problem between you and me. I'm not mad at you, kitty. What do you think? What do you think? I think you are a cat, and there's no trouble. None whatsoever. You just spooked. You spooked. That's what happened. Oh God, he did something. You spooked. Spooks. Okay. Not everyone who thinks they are a pop star is a pop star. Delusion is when you believe something to be true that isn't. Now, some delusions are more troublesome than others. I personally don't believe that anyone who says the earth is flat is delusional. No, to be delusional, you must really believe this. And I don't think there are that many people who actually believe the earth is flat. They know they are being willfully ignorant. They are being stubborn instead. That's not the same as a delusion. The person who chooses to ignore the evidence and think what they think is not being delusional. They're being willfully ignorant. They know better. That's being self-deceptive. Delusion is when you are convinced of something that is not the case. Like thinking that COVID-19 was started by people not washing their hands when they got out of the bathroom. That may have propagated it. But that was not the start. Yes, indeed. It did not start that way. COVID-19 was not spread by bats biting people either. It may have got its start in people making soup from bats. That is possible, but unproven, though plausible. There's no way to be sure that's what happened. There's no way to validate that. People suffer from delusions anytime they jump to something that might be the truth, but has no supportive evidence. That means that quantum physics is currently a delusion. Now, we can only verify that something is a delusion when we discover knowledge or information which tears it down. Until then, it's a delusion, but that is unverifiable. It's in the gray space between truth and fiction. Take my constant rantings of overlord. If you decode what I actually talk about when I mention being an overlord, I talk about merging an economy with an ecology, which makes sense on some level, and developing power as fast as possible without involving controlling other people. And again, from that context, yes, that's one possible meaning for overlord. So, do I actually achieve those things? Can I achieve those things? Perhaps I can and perhaps I can't. Until my concept of overlord is tested, I cannot be confirmed or denied the post of overlord. I can talk about the philosophy of being an overlord. I can talk about the troubles of being an overlord. The issues with government trying to take your power away once you achieve it. and how the more power you have, the more the government will want to take it from you? I can give perfectly solid reasons for this, like how the government's job is to regulate power, to ensure that no one person controls society. Does this mean that I will actually be correct? Well, in some cases, yes. The government is going to meddle in my overlord efforts. I will have to meet building codes and deal with land restrictions. I will need to pay taxes, and there could be endless other complaints about my overlording. Whether or not I encounter those is another question. Some of them I think I will encounter. But no, I don't think I will actually seek much opposition from the US government for trying to rewild 5 acres of timber. That's not likely. In fact, I doubt anyone will even lift their head to such nonsense. I can form a garden with 400 unique plants, put together a huge farm stand with giant offerings of food and bounty of... Nope. It won't matter. It won't matter at all. The truth of the situation is always different than our perception. We've talked about this before when I talked about facts, truth, and perception. Where other people's perception of us is very different from our own self-perception. How we see ourselves and how the world sees us, not the same. Not in the slightest. And so we must take great care in deciding how we go about perceiving the world. Or just don't, and just do what we do and see what comes of it. Someone out there, kitty? Yep, it looks like they're working on that building they're renovating. Wonder what they're gonna do with all those tires. There's a lot of them, that's for sure. That's a whole lot of rubber. That's a lot of bulk. Storing it would be a pain. Even throwing it away is difficult because they're heavy. And they carry value, which makes you reluctant to throw them away. It's like the old proverb of chicken ribs. Cat's like, don't talk to me, man. I'm trying to be stealthy over here. Well, that's fine, kitty. You just stealth it up. I'm looking. You can see where the water got up to. And the last time that it flooded, the leaves are pushed up to that point and then just form sort of a slowest mat. That's fine. It's cold out there, kitty. You're crazy. I don't know what you like about this window. That tarp might be valuable. Those tires, I don't know. I'll have to think about rubberized tires. It's possible that you could use rubberized tires to make a raised bed for planting. That might be valuable use for them. Collecting them for that purpose. Oh, worm bins. Now that would be a great use for them. Black rubber absorbs heat really well. The only problem is those worm bins would get hot in the summer and kill the worms. So it would be a winter-only holdover. You could fill the tires with worms and material, cover them loosely with pretty much anything, like a chunk of tarp or something. The worms would thrive inside the tower before finally going down and into the soil, creating something of a self-contained system. They would stick around as long as there was food there. When there wasn't, they would evacuate into the soil below. And you could disassemble it just as easily as you assembled it. Inside would be worm castings. That would be a fantastic use for all of those tires. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30, 31, 32, about 35 tires. Okay. So let's say there's 36. That's 12 worm casks. 12 worm casks. Each one about 3 by 3, maybe a little smaller. 12 worm casks, 3 by 3. Assuming worm castings should be no more than 10% of the soil. That's 3 cubic feet times 10 is 30 cubic feet times 12. 360 cubic feet of gardening. That's a pretty good-sized garden. All from a pile of tires. And you could move them too. Once the worms had consumed all the material, you could simply move the tires to the next area and repeat the process, top dressing as you go with the worm castings. These 12 tire floats would be pretty valuable, but boy, it would be a lot of work. You basically have to move one set of tires a day. Labor is always a consideration. This is what you call a delusion. We have jumped from one conclusion to another as though we were jumping over rocks in a river. We have reached an unstable conclusion by going from one wrong answer to another wrong answer. Can we actually fill those tires up with produce and scrap and assume that pests will stay out of it? No. Pests will definitely force their way in. Can we actually raise worms in there? Yes, I believe that. However, that black plastic's going to get hot even in the spring months. It might be too warm for worms who require a nice cool environment and oxygen and moisture. While the rings and substrate might be able to hold on to loose moisture for us, it also has problems that I'm not perceiving. For one, getting the soil out of the tires might be more difficult than getting it into the tires. And for two, the tires hold on to liquid when you don't want them to, giving a place for mosquitoes to breed. It would be problematic if that were to happen, meaning that when the tires are not in use, they have to go somewhere. In other words, they must always be in use. It makes it the sort of thing where you have to keep the logic up to keep the logic up. And if any one point in the chain fails, this is delusion territory. Basically, it's conclusion after conclusion jumping. It's always okay to jump to one conclusion. Self-deception is valuable. Choosing to fake it till you make it, saying, I'm going to be a pop star, so I'm going to start acting like a pop star now. That's valuable to humanity. That's taking a risk. That's getting out there. It's okay to deceive yourself when you have a goal in mind. But when you use that deception to fuel another deception, to fuel another deception, to fuel another deception, you end up in delusion territory. So, let's ask the big question. Am I wasting my time? My goal as Overlord is to lay claim to 5 to 20 acres of deforested timber or possibly depleted pasture, what most people would consider to be low-value earth, and live there for 15 years, using what I know about the ecosystem to rejuvenate the land, bring it back into health. Is this a waste of time? Is this folly? We have to break the delusion down. It's very happy to see the end post where we have a 15-year-old house. Nice warm brick house set up on some piece of land that was empty and void of life, but is now covered with trees and gardens and animals scampering. Well, fine. Why don't we dial this back? One step at a time. We'll peel back the delusion. The house can't be 15 years old because the house won't be there. It's going to take time to build the house, and it's going to take money. The house will take anywhere from 2 to 3 years, in fact, and it's going to be expensive, and it will come with problems. Because anytime you build something large and expensive, it comes with problems. That's the way problems are. Assuming we do this the most rational way, and I move a manufactured home onto the property, then we'll have to save up for that, and that will extend the loan, which means the free and easy pricing system of only paying taxes on the land is going to boil off. There will be an increase to expense. We can assume that there will be a home loan in addition to a property loan. That decreases the value that we're able to work with, but we're not necessarily priced out of the equation yet. Depending on how conservative I am with my piece of land, it's 100% possible to get both. A loan for the home, to get it constructed, and a place to live. Now, this might mean living out of a tent for a while, or living with family for a short period, while I'm allowing my land to get developed, to get my house in place. Things could get difficult for me for a while if I don't live with family. It could be hard to stay clean, hard to get showered. I'm sure I'm tough enough to survive such situations I have before, but I'm not sure my job would appreciate that. So assuming that I come up with the clean solution, a way to keep myself hygienic while I'm struggling through 2 years of waiting for my house to finish, and my house is on the property, there is then the problem of ecosystem adjustment. This is a time-consuming exercise. If I can put 15 years of my life into changing the ecosystem of an area, 100% I will succeed. There is no chance of failure, 0 chance of failure. This is because the average amount of time that a homeowner puts into changing the landscape of their home is an hour. 2 hours at best, a year. They barely try, and the results speak for themselves. People don't care for their land, and as a result, the land doesn't care for them. A change in philosophy, caring for your home, results in the home caring back. It also results in a whole lot of people wanting to be part of your home. Animals will make their way in, so all those critters bouncing around, that's no fantasy. If you create food, nature will walk right in to try to take some of it. As for which critters it will be, who knows, but something will definitely show up to get its share of the food. The gardens, the trees, there will be raiders trying to get at all of that. No question. But, assuming we do a good enough job keeping pests away, which will be a major challenge, maybe we better imagine a fence around that territory. That's another year. So now we've got 14 years on land preservation and 1 year building a fence in addition to the 2 years on the home. So we're looking at about 3 years of construction and 12 years of peaceable existence. Still doable. Still fine. But the expenses keep mounting. Fencing is not something I have any experience with. Home building is not something I have any experience with, so these corners can't be cut. Ecosystem adjustment is something I have experience with. I have rejuvenated land before, and to success. I have brought land that was dead and worthless back from the brink. I know what must be done. I know which steps have to be taken. And I'm aware of some shortcuts that can make it easier. That said, Every piece of land is its own project. Every problem is unique, and solutions I employed on previous puzzles might not work on future puzzles. So I could end up with problems that I can't imagine, say for example, salty soil or pollution from someone else's interactions, or severe pest problems. Any number of things can go wrong with this equation. When we accept the fact that we might not have full control over our objective, then we must accept the fact that we might get a partial result instead of a complete one. The odds that a person can spend 15 years of their life to rejuvenate a piece of property is 100%, no question. But if it's a 20-acre property and 5 acres are covered with blackberry brambles, those aren't going anywhere anytime soon unless you have a herd of goats. And I don't feel like paying for a herd of goats. I know the troubles that come with a herd of goats. So maybe I'm going to have to settle for 50% revival. Maybe as little as 20% revival. Maybe I'll have to pick my battles and only rejuvenate small amounts of the soil. Then there's the government. The price of the tax on the land will be very low until I put a home on it and put a high quality fence on it. And if I want to construct a workshop, a greenhouse, all these other nice things, the land price will go right back up until I have the same problem that my father had, being priced out of my own land. The government will consider my creations and constructions too valuable for me to own. And on a minimum wage salary, I won't be able to keep my own creations. The property tax will catch up. The fact that I have created something so valuable, I'll have to be careful. I'll need to work within the rules and be clever, hiding my greenhousing in plain sight, merging my workshop into the home, possibly merging the greenhouse into the home. So there's a single standing proper building and everything else is considered not part of the property. We'll do some research on how to properly manage my property taxes. That sounds like an effective step. Taking the right steps can turn a delusion into a reality. To break down a delusion, you have to remove the layers where you're guessing upon guessing. You have to start accepting the fact that things can go wrong. This might not work out the way you wanted it to work out. Even in the case that I can't get the piece of land that I want, the money that I'm saving will definitely be useful to me. So by preparing, there's no way I'm hurting myself. Even if I have to spend all this money getting a piece of property that doesn't suit my needs at all, or even just save it for renting, it will definitely be handy in the future. So, is this a harmful self-deception? No. No, this self-deception is not harmful. It's not damaging in any way. So for me, it's okay to be an overlord. And it's okay for me to become a sage. After all, being the sage of the Crescent Moon Temple means saving money, existing small, keeping my footprint tiny, and accumulating wealth. So, there's no problem with that either. You should always examine the effects of your self-deceptions and delusions. They are inescapable for the average person. Everyone believes things that aren't completely true. The question is, what's the outcome from that? What's the final effect? If the final effect is positive, then it's fine. It's okay to deceive yourself as long as the outcome is acceptable. If you believe you are the world's idol, and so you are sweet and kind to everyone, the world may respond by respecting your beliefs. It's incredible how that works. If you convince yourself that you are Santa Claus, the world may not believe that very well. There may be factors that convince them, like you don't have the appearance of Santa Claus, you don't have the mannerisms of Santa Claus, and Santa Claus isn't real for that matter. All of these things stand in the way, but if you spend your days making toys only to give to children, if you are kind and sweet to your community and seek never to offend anyone, you do nothing but give to your community, the community may gradually come to embrace your role as Santa Claus. People are more willing to tolerate delusions and deceptions, self-deceptions, when it is beneficial to the community to accept them. Everyone may know that this is not true, but everyone may decide to play along. This is the nature of communal living, the nature of society. People's beliefs and behaviors play off of each other. There's a train passing out there. That's a lot of horn. It's fascinating watching this territory owned by another person getting torn down. They made a number of mistakes in their home design. And you can see how they were trying to achieve things. And in places they succeeded and in places they failed. They were using concrete mason units, CMUs. Covered in moss, this was an old project. The tires everywhere. They understood the value of the tires, but I'm not sure they had a practical use for them. Or maybe they did. Maybe they were using them as a heat retention wall. All these trees so close to the house, that's a significant danger. Branches and trees can fall on the house. And the presence of the trees act as a cooling factor. Having the trees some distance away, that can be useful, I suppose is the way to put it. They can act as a shade factor. They can help shield the house from debris and things. Yep. You can see how this person had a lot of small projects. They were a creative person like me. They did a lot of little things. They let a lot of big things slide. We have a skimmity scammer. Oh wow, can I delete that? I can mute him anyways, but it wouldn't make a difference because it's just some daft little punk. Anyways. It's nothing I care about. I have to work from what I have. I need to focus on my reality. And today, on the 13th of February, tomorrow is Valentine's Day. I should think about that. I have a Valentine's to write to someone. There are 4 days to the 9th moon. When I think back across the arc of the last 9 months of my life, it's startling to think of all the things that happened. Last summer, I discovered that I had to move. I spent 1 month getting myself in order, 1 month finding a place. By 3rd moon, I was here. 4th moon, I was moving in. I spent most of 5th moon sick as a dog. And 6th moon, gradually recovering. I spent 6th and 7th moon in a dark place. 7th and 8th moon was the beginning of the show. Here, getting started. Over the course of 7th and 8th moon, my account went from $0 saved all the way up to 40 cubes. That's nice. To think that I've got 40 cubes of progress. Just so quick. That's really good. And I'm trying to get more as fast as possible. I need to have as much as I can get. Because time is not my ally here. There are only 36 moons in this process, and I'm already on moon number 9. All too soon. So what do? There are major expenses I have to deal with. My car requires repair for its electrical systems. That has to happen soon. I also need to buy new uniforms for my job. I think that's a good thing to do today. Purchase more uniforms. Time is passing. It's not ever going to slow down, is it? It's going to roll forward just like this. All I can do is do what I can to try and maintain my situation. I can decrease my bills by switching off my equipment. I should set up the phone for phone streaming. I think that would be useful to me. Because this kind of streaming, where it's just me having conversation, I can do that from my phone, no problem. Oh yeah, that's easy. Just jack my mic into the phone, adjust the levels, get my playlist. I can load all of these sound files onto a single thing playing in the background, tune the levels, and hell, the performance will probably be of a higher value than otherwise, and I'll be able to go everywhere while talking. I won't need to be tethered to my computer at that point. Certain things will fall through the wayside. I'll have to adjust it carefully so that I can actually read chat. Not that there's anyone who's talking to me on the average. But eventually, this will be necessary. When I reach my new property, there won't be a computer system. I'll be lucky if I have access to electricity to charge my phone. But if I do have electricity to charge my phone, I can still broadcast. I'll be able to use Streamlabs. They do good work. I'll be able to broadcast even while tilling the fields. I'm building worm cased. Being willing to assist others can open the door to my own opportunities. When focusing on my own property, I'll definitely be able to improve it. $5 to 20 acres should be within my capability. If I focus entirely on 1 acre at a time and just work my way across my land, then over the course of 15 years, I will definitely be able to regrow the whole thing. 1 acre at a time. In fact, I don't think it would even take that long. I could probably go with a hurry-up offense. I could probably get it done faster. My supply of tea has woken me up entirely. Fully conscious now. Waste is a major concern. I consider it to be like friction in an engine, and I want to minimize it. At the same time, I want to live loosely. The more effort I have to put into managing waste, the more difficult it becomes to keep up with the Joneses, so to speak. So, I need a low-effort way to maintain control of waste. Now, when I'm on the farm, I can use a composting bin with a lid in order to turn ordinary kitchen scraps and other things into soil. I can always feed these things to the worms. And they'll just eat whatever. They'll go to town. So from the first time I have a worm cask, I'll be able to do that. Now, I wanted to use CMUs for the sides of my worms because, unlike tires, which are difficult to obtain all the material from, CMUs form nice clean walls. And they're easy to move. I think I'm going to stick to my CMU with insert formula, where we get a whole bunch of CMUs, we fill them with high R value inserts so that they are excellent insulators. We put them down in a ring shape and build a worm bin. Then when we are ready to distribute these worm castings, we half the material, set the next worm bin, do the exact same thing, and again, we build it up just like so. Eventually, all of these CMU units that I'm gradually buying and all these insulators that I'm gradually putting together can be reassembled into something new, a different building, or perhaps a garage or something like that. Again, we're going to want to pay attention to estate taxes and figuring out whether or not I'm damaging my overall income by building all these worm cairns. But assuming that we are gradually building up the ground and rejuvenating the land, it should be okay. What we want to do is produce roughly 3 cubic feet or a cubic meter of worm castings by building a worm bin and filling it up with waste produce and things like that all the way up, then allowing the worms to eat all of this food for them. They'll eat that down, and then we do it again and again. Maintaining moisture control on the worms, we split it. We create 2 new worm cairns. And then we can split those into 4, and so forth. By repeatedly splitting and splitting, we obtain a large amount of worm castings, while at the same time, we're generating the land required, the high quality soil, and a huge number of high quality earthworms to be able to rejuvenate the land, to recharge everything. By being granular and spending most of my first year splitting worms. Oh, I'm already out of time. Here I am going back into my delusions. Well, this was certainly an interesting show to say the least. I hope you enjoyed listening to some of my long-term plans, even though most of them are half-baked. Assuming that I'm able to get a hold of these CMUs and fill them with high R value insulator, and then gradually over time put together enough of them to build a home, and then use masonry techniques to assemble them into a building, I could use the foundation from my land as the foundation for my own home and build upon that. Will it actually work out? Maybe it will, and maybe it won't. Who can say? I'm not sure most people would like to have a home built of CMU, but I could always paint it. And what it lacks in structural charm, it would be pretty well grounded in reality, if it's grounded in reality. Again, that's how self-delusions are. If it's stack upon stack of these things, who knows what the truth is? You'd need about 1,500 CMUs to construct a single-story, 3-bedroom house. Basically, it's 1.125 blocks per square foot of wall, plus you need about 10% to manage waste. So, 1,500 of these base 8/8/16s, assuming we have, let's see here, 1, 2, 16, 32, and then another, right. So these 8/8/16s, these guys, you need to have, let's see, it's 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, 8, 24 of them. Maybe 32, but I think it's 24 per worm cairn. Okay, we'll go with 32. We need to have 50 worm cairns in order to build a home. Once we are up to doing 50 worm cairns at the same time, it will be time to construct a house. And we need mortar. We'd have to have corner blocks too. Thanks for watching.